it's been a fantastic year. I love the job. I love my region. I love getting out and about and meeting with a whole bunch of people. Really, it's been a highlight of the year. Has been getting out there, meeting with as many people and organisations and businesses as possible.
What's gone well, and what would you do differently?
What's gone well is I think that we're starting really to get some traction on some of the projects that we've been lobbying for over the last couple of years. So, the announcement here today around expanding the full build for Wakatubu High School from 1,200 to 1,800. That's been something we've been working on for quite some time. Also been quite involved with the visitor levy in the background, trying to, alongside the Chamber of Commerce and Auckland and Christchurch airports, as well as Air New Zealand, to try and find out what that might look like for places like Te Anau and Queenstown. And we've had some success as well with MPI and Environment Southland in terms of biosecurity. So we've managed to secure a consultation meeting in Southland for Southland farmers after the velvet leaf scare that we had. We felt that farmers in Southland were probably best placed to put forward their views on the implications of a biosecurity scare, but also, of course, the Land and Water Plan, which is the Environment Southland's large piece of work at the moment, which is going to be a game changer for the Southland economy. Everybody in Southland, whether you're a farmer or in the town, is affected by the success of agriculture. So how that plan looks will be incredibly important going forward. The last thing probably majorly is health. The commissioners who have replaced the board at Southern DHB, Sarah Dowie and I have been working closely with them. They're making great progress, and over the coming year it'll be interesting to see what plans they're going to announce coming forward about how we're going to change healthcare going forward. A couple of the wins so far out of that is Te Anau has received a new X-ray machine, which will save in costs and travel for Te Anau residents. Queenstown is going to receive a CT scanner. We're going to see an expansion to our emergency department, and with Country Club coming on board, we'll see an expansion to aged care. In places like Gore and Balclutha, nurse practitioners and physician assistants are being rolled out, and it's fantastic to see the positive effects that's having.
So those are the wins, but there must be things that, looking back on 2016, you think, well, I wish I'd done that differently, or I wish there was a different outcome.
Yeah, I suppose at a general level, I've been in the role for about 2.5 years now. It's been a steep learning curve. I've learnt a lot. To a large extent, I've learnt what I don't know. And so I think just, what I probably could do better next time is just, I think, continuing that engagement with sector representatives or community groups and people, and just continuing those conversations, and just making sure that we're more effective as a team than individually. And that's one thing that Sarah and I do quite well together, we think, is we work quite closely on issues affecting Southland, so that there's two voices saying the same message instead of just one.
A lot of publicity about Queenstown and the struggle with managing growth. Do you think we'll turn a corner in 2017, or will the issues that we're seeing get worse and worse?
Well, I think growing pains that we're experiencing, while they are frustrating, and I totally sympathise with that, being a resident here myself, they are challenges of growth, and they are positives, I think, because there are a number of other regions in the country that would absolutely kill to have the issues that we've got. Notwithstanding that, there's a lot of work to do. We need to make sure that we get on top of those issues. We've got a large number of residents, 20 to 25,000 people, who rely on the council and the government to make sure that they're getting their fair share, and to make sure that they are being looked after, to the same extent as other people across the country. But also we've got we're an international tourism hub. We've got a reputation to uphold, and we have thousands and millions of people coming to New Zealand and into Queenstown, and Queenstown and Te Anau are the flagship for tourism here. So I think we've seen a lot happening in infrastructure. We've seen a couple of new roundabouts, a number of stretches of roads being double laned. I'm working on a petition for State Highway 6. Hopefully we can remove vehicles parked along there outside the airport, double lane that, and institute some form of resident parking for the residents of Frankton. And I know the airport and council are in discussions about a park and ride and increased parking capability too. So There is a lot happening. Might not seem like there is. These things do take time. We're listening to people. Jim Bolt is doing a fantastic job. I think, I want to mention this because everybody's got a mentor, and if they don't, they should have one, and Jim's mine. So we work really well together, and I think him and his council are doing a fantastic job of cutting through some of the bureaucracy at a council level to try and get some real wins across the board. And from the government side, we're working quite closely with them on that.
Because I guess the clock is ticking. A lot of people are worried that if Queenstown breaks, the rest of the country will suffer. And the issues around accommodating workers and residents not being able to afford to stay here, it is getting to the point where that threatens the economic benefit that Queenstown brings to the whole country.
That's right. Queenstown is obviously a beautiful place. A lot of people want to live here. And so the challenge associated with that is, given the demand is quite in excess of the supply currently available, that does push prices up, and it is quite expensive. One of the things we're trying to do to circumvent the market activities in that place, in that sort of area, is through the housing accord that we've got. We've got 7 special housing areas. There are a number of blocks that are going to be opening up for affordable housing for families, young families to move into. It is an expensive place to live, and that needs to be taken into account. Employers, most of whom are doing a good job of reflecting that in salaries. I mean, you can't just pay minimum wage and expect that you're going to attract somebody to do the job here, because they can't survive on it. So employers need to take a bit of that as well. We're experiencing huge economic growth here. Employers are experiencing huge profits. Part of the cost of doing business here, unlike many other parts, is that maybe salaries need to go up a wee bit to be able to accommodate that. In terms of worker accommodation, there are a number of discussions going on. Unfortunately, 1 or 2 proposals have sort of fallen over. But, NZ Ski have done a fantastic job with their Cromwell site. They put millions of dollars into that, and I really credit them for it. I think one learning from that is it shows that people want to live in Queenstown. So there will always be a portion of people that will be able to go out to Cromwell, but it reinforces the need for worker accommodation here in Queenstown. The Gorge Road site here at Wakatupu High School, working with Housing Minister Nick Smith and Education Minister Hekia Parata to navigate the Public Works Act in order to be able to free up that land a lot faster so that we can undertake the legislative and administrative processes that need to take place, so that whoever's successful in that bid can just start construction straight away when the high school moves to its new site. And my firm priority is that needs to be for worker accommodation and affordable housing.
You mentioned pay rates and the need for pay rates to increase and minimum wage not being enough. Does that mean that free market mechanisms really haven't worked and there needs to be some sort of intervention or social engineering to balance the books in Queenstown so it stays a healthy community?
Always hesitant of social engineering. But the market does work. But if you look at Queenstown, we're unique from a number of perspectives. The cost of living is higher here. Affordability, sort of moving into the area is much higher here. We don't have the same public transport networks as other areas do with similar costs of living as us. We've got strains on healthcare, and we've got a network review going on in education, but we're really unique. So I don't think some form of wholesale social engineering change is going to be the answer. But what it does mean is that, employers know the difficulties in attracting staff. They know that if they want to attract low-skilled staff or even medium-skilled staff, they have to pay for that, because it's very, very important on top of mind for people. If they're moving into the area, they need to be able to, they want to take a step forward, not a step backwards in doing so. I think at a macro level here, and I think it'll also benefit places like Te Anau, possibly the Catlins, a visitor levy of some description, as we talked about before. It's just simply not feasible to say that we're going to survive the way we are. We need to get an injection from that tourism dollar that's spent here. And while the council has rating systems, differentiating rating systems they can use and that they are using, it's still not enough. So I'll be looking forward to seeing next year what that visitor levy does look like, and hope that it takes into account places like Te Anau, Queenstown, Catlins, who have got a disproportionately small rating base that cover such a huge number of tourists.
Now, big year next year with the general election coming up. Do you think you're going to be challenged for this electorate? And if you are, will you win that challenge?
I am being challenged at the moment, actually, and I've got every confidence that we'll win, because I think that my team and I, we've got a huge team spread across 18 branches in the National Party. We've literally got close to 100 people that are in our team. I've got 3 officers with awesome staff, and Paul is sitting over there right now. But, we've done a lot over the last 3 years. We've got a lot of wins over the line for this electorate. We've dealt with over 1,000 individual constituency cases. But, we bank that, people bank that, and they want to see what we're going to do moving forward. And we've got a lot to build on. And I'm really passionate about this area. It's my home area. I've lived my whole life here. I come from this area. I come from a farming background. And I think that, the people of Clutha Southland, we are largely a rural electorate. So I'm really passionate about that part of the electorate as well. I can speak to Queenstown people in the same way I can speak to farmers. I've milked cows, I've shorn sheep, not very efficiently, but I've done it. But, that's the balance that I think I bring. But that's the balance that our whole team brings. We're in such a positive space, and we've got a lot to offer. So.
And you were surprised by John Key's announcement recently. Was that as much a surprise to you as to everybody else?
Yes, I was at the Mataro Valley milk plant opening, which is a $220 million milk plant just out of Gore, Southland's second largest investment. And we got a text message, all of us, saying we need you on a conference call at 11 a.m. And I thought, I'm running late to the airport, so I thought it was going to be what the announcement of the Kaikoura roading package is going to look like, because there'd been a bit of talk about that. Then a couple of colleagues said, no, you really need to get on to this. We don't know what it's about, but it's pretty serious. And so we all got on, and there were gasps of shock, and we all went into a state of mourning for about 24 to 48 hours, actually, because it took everybody by surprise.
So obviously you know Bill English well. In your view, he's going to be a good Prime Minister, I assume?
Absolutely. I had the privilege of working for Bill for a couple of years. He's been very supportive of me, so it's been great to see him in that role.
So going into 2017, what are your 3 promises? What are the 3 promises you'd like to make as a Christmas present to the electorate?
Well, it's very tough making promises, to overpromise and underdeliver. But I think what I promise the electorate is what I've promised them for the last 3 years, and that is my relentless, unwavering commitment to serve every single person in this electorate to the best of my ability. We fight hard for our electorate, and I give you that commitment. I give them a commitment of listening to them and hearing and understanding what their concerns are, and doing our very best to provide positive solutions for them. And thirdly, it's just to make sure that our voice is a strong voice that's heard around the caucus table and around the cabinet table with cabinet colleagues. And that's why we've hosted 93 ministers and MPs to the electorate over the last 3 years. It's to engage with people and to build that awareness, and we're starting to see some wins there. So more of the same is what you'll see from me.
Todd Barclay, thanks for speaking with TAP TV.
Thanks very much.